it's Kelly with Kellyscards.ca and welcome to this make a card video. So I actually had this idea in my head one night when I couldn't sleep, and I don't know why I thought of this when I couldn't sleep, but I was starting to think about card making and some designs and that, and I came up with this idea. So basically I'll show you off of this card here. So this card looks fairly flat, but it isn't. There is a piece of foam that is going to take up the spot here and for our image. So this will all be raised where everything else will be flat. And I kind of was thinking about this because I had cut some foam to an 8/2 size, and I thought, you know, this is really great for having the whole panel raised, but it would be nice to have a spot on the card that is raised and that one that isn't. So I came up with this idea, and I'll just show you quick here. I basically took a circle die and I kind of put it right in the middle of the A2 size foam, and I taped it down, and when I ran it through my die cutting machine, I only ran it through with the pads on half, and the result was that I got a piece like this. So this is actually attached to this piece, and what was so great about this is you actually end up in a way with two of these, because you will have this as the negative space from here. And what I did was I just cut out another circle and attached it, and I've got another one ready to go. So I thought this was a pretty good idea, and I thought I'd try it out. And today I am going to build a couple cards using this layout and idea. So to start out, I have picked out some papers for this grad image. I'm just going to move all of this out of the way and add my image right to my little mat. I love to have these little mats. This is a Spellbinders scalloped circle die that I have used to make this, and it just gives more dimension to the images, and I just like how it looks, especially if the papers are busy. It really defines the image nicely. So now that I've got that on there, I've got this really nice card base. This is a 110-pound cardstock, and of course I've got my foam. So the first thing I do, I want to make sure that this is lined up, this piece here is lined up, and it's going to work with this piece. So I'm going to take some score tape now, or some Be Creative tape, and I'm just going to run it along those edges there. And I really don't have to do this piece here, and I'll tell you why, because we're going to put the foam over top. So the foam will already be pushing down, so we don't really have to use adhesive on this other end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this adhesive backing off here, and I'm going to bring in my card base now. And I'm just going to line this up so that I have a nice border around with the black. And once I've got that on there nice and straight, so now that that's on there, that's going to start the workup on the rest of the layers. So before we adhere this piece down, we really want to work on this layer first. And I've picked out some gold pieces. They're really shiny. And then this wonderful, it's got the dots there, but it's brown with this darky brown paper, and I think this is going to look really great with this image, with this grad hat. So first things first, I'm going to use my tape runner, because I just like using the tape runner onto foam. I find it really sticky, and I'm going to line this up with right to the edge here, the top and the edge, and I'm going to make sure that it is right along there, and then I'm just going to run my finger, my thumb here along the edge to make sure that it's on there nice and straight, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of a push down. So now I have this piece here, but I'm not going to put this one on first. I'm going to put the other gold piece, because I just want a sliver of this gold. So I'm going to bring it and I'm going to line it up now with the opposite corner. Again, top and bottom. And I'm going to take my time doing this because I really want to make sure this is lined up And now I'm going to push that down. And now we can see that's nice and shiny. And now when I put this piece on, we're still going to see the gold, but this will be slightly raised obviously off of the other pieces. And I just really like the look it's going to give. So I'm going to use score tape here because I want it to really stick to that gold paper. And we'll just run this along like so. And now I'm going to bring this again, and again, try to line it up fairly centered. I'm going to maybe use my grid here, and I can use that as a guide to center it. I have added this piece now, and I really like that division on there. So now I'm going to bring this piece back in, and I really like how this is starting to look. And again, you can see the dimension there is starting to build. And what I love about this idea is that we've got a spot for the sentiment that is raised, but around the sentiment isn't, and this piece is. And I love that different levels of dimension on the card. So I'm just going to use some of the tape runner again on this foam. Again, I really don't like the score tape on the back of the foam. I don't find it kind of stays, and I find it kind of frustrating to take off. So we're going to use it this way here with the tape runner, and I'm going to want to leave a little bit of a border just like I did on this side and top and bottom. So I'm going to bring this in and get this nice and lined up. And now that I've carefully lined this all up, this is going to stick down now. Now I've got my image, and I can either lay it down flat or I can die cut another piece of foam, which I have done. And now this is really going to give us some dimension and a raised look. But before I do that, I'm going to bring in my Versamark marker here. And this is a dual brush marker. It's of course for embossing. And one thing I like to do on these little grad images is I like to take and emboss a little bit of this tassel into gold, and I really like the look that it gives the card. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to bring in my anti-static bag, and I'm just going to give it a little rub here so I can be a little bit more careful on where the gold embossing powder goes. And now I'm going to bring in this pen, and I'm just going to zoom in here so we can get a good look at this. And again, I'm just going to be very careful where I go, and I'm just probably going to try to do the smallest little bit of line possible. And then I'm going to color in the little ball there and finish up the tassel here. Kind of hard to see because you can't really see where that watermark is, but if you miss, you can just emboss it over again. So I'm going to do these little bits there. Now I'm going to bring in my gold embossing powder, and I'll just sprinkle some of this over the top, maybe a little bit more to make sure we got all the areas. And that is going to look really great once it is embossed. So now I have embossed that, and I just love how that adds. And because we've got the gold here, this is just going to help add a little bit more sparkle to this card. So now that I have done that, I'm going to attach this piece, and you can either attach it right to here, so it will still be raised, or you can cut another foam piece, which I have decided to do here. I have decided to cut another foam circle, and that way we will have even more dimension. So again, I'm going to put the tape runner down on both sides of this foam, and we will get this put up, and this is just going to look really great once it is up on this second piece of foam. And it's got lots of strength behind it because of this piece here. I'll put this down now, and for the sentiment, I have printed this out of MS Word, and I'm going to have it hang off of here, but I need some support here. So I have taken this little piece of foam, and I'm going to decide how much. That's probably, I wanted a little bit more over here, so I'm going to have to cut a little bit off just to get the length right on this. And now if I place this on here, that is going to be about right. So I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to add again the adhesive to the foam, and then I'm going to add adhesive to the piece of the foam, and then this part here that will be stuck to the raised area. And I'm just going to bring this in now and decide where I want to put it. I think I want it mostly centered. And once I put this down, this piece will be supported first by this foam and by that foam. To finish off this card, I thought of some gold bling, but I had a package of these little gold bows, and I think that it would look really great close on this higher portion of the card here. And it would it would fit in nice because it'd be slightly lower than the image, but it would be nice and par with this height. And I just like how that finishes off that card. I don't want this video to get too long, so I'm going to break it up into 2 different videos, and I will show the other card in another video. And I really like this idea of the different levels. Again, this is one level, this is a different level, and this is a different level. And it gives a great amount of dimension and interest to the card. You don't really have to add a lot of flowers and metal elements to really get interest into the card, just the different levels alone. But really like the layout of this card, and love the colors with the black and whites and the browns, and this wonderful image that I have added this little bit of gold embossing to. Really adds a little bit more to the card. So thank you so much for joining me for this Make a Card video. You can check me out on my website at Kellyscards.ca. You can subscribe for more videos, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day.